All right, welcome to episode 103 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me this week is our lovely circle of friends, and one that I have inadvertently terrified with heights, just trying to show shit off. My bad, Steven.
I don't like the second rung of a ladder.
I didn't know. I'll explain more of this in a while, but I feel really bad now.
I don't. That's
Laughing
hilarious.
his ass off at it. Chris.
You sent an acrophone pictures of the sky.
One day I'm gonna find out what Chris is scared of.
My biggest fear is pretty much just triggering that to mess with people. I didn't even mean to, like inadvertently screwing with someone. Not something I'm trying to do.
You could have done worse. You could have gone on like Shutterfly and sent me an album or something.
I was going to post a bunch of other photos later because I'm a Destiny.
You can.
I put them on Facebook. I was like,
know that there's a content warning for me on there.
Yeah, I'll give more of a heads up for it. And then laughing and confused at this entire situation while waiting for her AC to still be fixed, Rachel.
Hello. It's going to hopefully, fingers crossed, be fixed tomorrow. That's the plan. And boy howdy, do I have a tale for you guys when it comes to that. But
this has been a few episodes. I'm concerned. Like that's a lot.
So I mean,
especially in Florida.
A new update from like when we're like, does our Twitter exist yet? No, it does not.
Yeah, we just dropped that, and we're just going to move on to Rachel's AC as a segment.
No, so okay. Here, are you guys ready for the AC update?
Yes.
Okay, so
we'll go ahead and start with you then, Rachel. What have you been up to?
The AC is still out, but okay. So here's the dealio. So we have a home warranty company, right?
Right.
And they fix stuff. That's fine. That's all well and good. We pay less for repairs on all that, and we thought everything was fine. Turns out when they had replaced a certain capacitor, he didn't have a new one on him, so he replaced it with a used one. And that coupled with the size of the fan blade should be a 12-inch, not a 9-inch. So it was essentially burning everything out because the fan is working too hard. So
you have an asthmatic air conditioner. Awesome.
Essentially. But when we had the AC people come back out, they just didn't see that. And of course, they're the ones who did it wrong. So if they knew that they did it wrong and they figured out and they saw it, do you really think they'd own up to it? No, of course they're not. They're embarrassed.
Hell no. They're going to pass that on to somebody else.
Yeah. So my dad has been doing some contractor work with one of his friends and stuff like that. So his friend Rick knows a guy. This guy's name is Carlos. He's cool dude.
We know a guy. He knows a guy.
Been in the AC business for 20-something years.
Not off the Carlos.
And he goes, yeah, I'll come and look at it. And he proceeds to tell my dad, okay, this is literally what's wrong, and shows him why it's wrong, tested it, showed it, and lit it. And he goes, I'll come out on Sunday and fix it. It's only going to cost you $300 instead of having to get a whole new AC unit for $8,000. So insane. Is the AC old and will we eventually need to get a new one? Yeah, but I'd say maybe we get another year or two out of it. It's a train unit. Train units can last up to 30 years if you take care of them. So
maybe we can get Jeremy to quietly just send you guys parts and just slowly rebuild it over time.
I mean,
the AC of Theseus.
Yeah, let's not get my son fired, but it would be hilarious.
That would be really funny. But yeah, that's the AC update. So if it gets fixed tomorrow, expect a message from me going, at last my AC works again. So
need to post a GIF of the what do you call it? All right, everyone, chill.
She'll just she'll join the show with like a jacket and a hoodie on, just going, it's great.
It's really cool.
The Ice Age.
With icicles like dripping off my eyelashes or something. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And other than that, I've been kind of slowly trying to work through my replay and new play backlog of games. But like for example, I had started replaying all the Xenoblade games like a while ago, right? Mm-hmm. And the first one, I'm in the High Entia place, and I maybe played for about 45 minutes, and I was like, nope, no, this is not holding my attention. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to turn on another game. So I was like, oh yeah, I meant to start up Shining Resonance Refrain. Booted that up, and I was like, paid it for about 20 minutes and went, no, this is not what I want right now.
Oh,
So
those are the worst to be stuck in.
Apparently, like, my brain does not know what it wants to play, like, game-wise right now. I actually know what I want to play. It doesn't come out until February. So, like, it's just one of those things that is like, okay, brain, you have to play something else in the meantime. Like, remember, you're excited for Spider-Man 2, and so I'm like, oh yeah,
entertain yourself, brain.
Exactly. So
stuck in the interim
moved away
period.
until February, and she's like, this is fun, but it's not the same.
Exactly. It's not. Well, I had this struggle with the game that shall not be named that we do not talk about that came out earlier this year that I played nonstop for many months. I had this happen shortly before that game came out, and I literally was like, I don't want to play anything but this. And yeah, that's where I was with that, and I'm in that stage now, and I'm like, I have a game coming out in October that I'm really looking forward to, so I hope I don't lose attention with that. But yawn counter number 1. And so anyway, but other than that, I've just been doing all my spooky things, going to all the Halloween events down in my neck of the woods. I had the last food item that I had not yet tried of the available options at one of them. And it was a Korean corn dog. And it was literally, it was awesome. It's like mozzarella cheese stick, hot dog, mozzarella cheese stick, stab it through with a stick, dip it in the batter, deep fry it, cover, before you deep fry it, covered it in potato matchsticks, and then put a bunch of like sauces and seasonings on. Next time I go,
How does your heart still work?
I walk a lot. Yeah.
I'm too busy to die.
I'm too exactly. I'm too busy to die. So it was really, really good, and I will either be having that or one of the stews when I go next Friday, because I go every single Friday. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. And I don't have anything coming up of any importance. Maybe I'll start streaming again when my AC starts working.
She's like, it's too damn hot in here for that.
Because that's literally what one of my friends like, are you going to stream this week? Because they were deciding whether or not they, if they could tune in. And I was like, no, I'm not, because
I'd like to be in the stream.
I'm like, I'd like to, but I don't got no AC, and it's hot in here.
There's only a stream of sweat.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's, man. And I'm like, and someone was like, I said something about stream of sweat, essentially. And they said, well, that's a Patreon level. Nobody's activated yet. And I said, I don't even have one of those.
Yeah. I just thought of a really stupid, like, you know how they make those really ridiculous PC accessories that you're like, why do you have this? They should make a hat that you can put on that is tied into the liquid cooling system of your computer. So it cycles through around your hat and through your computer. So it's pulling heat from your head while it's cooling your PC.
Oh my God.
I mean, that would have
some idiot would wear it.
Literally, that would have to be very like high powered on both ends to work.
It could be done.
I'm sure it can.
There'd be LED lights everywhere. You would watch this and be like, that's funny, and then have a seizure from the flashing.
Yeah.
Please tell me that's not what I think
PC from Cooler Master?
Oh
my God.
Like a sneaker?
It's a sneaker. Okay. I thought that was
Cooler
a hat.
Master. Didn't they also make the KFC chicken warming PC?
I forgot about that.
Oh man, please don't remind me of that. I remember when that was
because it had a dating game too.
It did. No, and the dating game actually, like, it came out.
It was popular.
It was very popular. I think I still have it on my computer. Actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, the ending was disappointing, but regardless.
Let me guess, you got chicken.
Well, you can get that PC for the low price of $6,000.
No, dear God.
Jesus.
I don't need a computer that looks like a shoe.
It's custom.
I don't even want a transformer that looks like a shoe and it's not $6,000.
I think after I buy that, I'd live in a shoe, but...
Okay, Mother Goose.
So, all right. Steven, just because I feel really bad about all of it, what have you been up to?
All kinds of things. So I caught the first episode of The Continental, which is, the making of John Wick, basically. It's okay.
That's
I'm hoping it
ecstatic.
kind of takes off, because right now it's just saying, like, it's doing a little bit of, like, remember this? This is this person but young. Remember this? This is probably what leads to the rest of them.
I was worried
Listen,
about that.
of prequel shows, you generally have about what I call 2 episodes of setup. That tends to be the method.
That makes sense.
And unless you're crazy and you already, or your fans are crazy and you don't need setup. That's the only. Almost all prequel shows have 2 episodes of setup, so I'd be interested to know.
I'm trying to think if that applies. Most recent prequel show I'm aware of is
each episode is almost 2 hours.
Oh, yep. Okay. So
the most recent prequel one I can think of is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and yeah, I guess that would kind of fit as a prequel setup for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I will be checking out episode 2 tonight to see like how it changes, because they're already, no spoilers, but they're already pulling like the Game of Thrones thing, saying, "Did you like that character?" No, you don't.
I don't even like Game of Thrones.
And having like Mel Gibson as like a villain, I was like, all right, whatever.
Y'all can guess what I was watching instead of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's in it. I think he's the only, I guess, in my eyes, star, because everybody else, I'm like, I've seen you in things, but you've never been on the marquee.
Wait.
Yeah, it's otherwise known as that guy.
It's the John Wick prequel. Isn't this the thing that Lance Reddick is in?
No.
Okay.
You can tell who becomes that character, because he's obviously working at the hotel. Okay. But he's just like the go get my coffee type guy.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, we're doing that. But they did get the stunt coordinator from the actual movies. So when they do have action, the action is top notch. I did enjoy that.
That's good to know.
It's got the same, like, really quick shooting everybody mechanic. I'm going to say mechanic. As the John Wick's did, where he just keeps turning the gun and quickly killing people. They still do that. So the stunt coordination is there.
So it kind of makes me think about somebody recently was asking, like, what do you guys talk about in your show? And I was like, oh yeah, movies and games and all this other stuff. Mostly games, though. We're kind of focused on those. Seems like that's where our brains go all the time.
Fire up the Foam Stars beta.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's probably the longest loading times I've seen in a game to get into the room and then to about to play and then get disconnected. I spent tons of time in the waiting room trying out all the characters and their moves. And to be honest, it could find a niche or niche, because it's not color the map and your color and you win. There's a character on the other team that you just need to kill. And in order to kill them, you basically put foam all over them until they're captured in the foam, and then you surf into them and they die. Or explode.
See, I think part of the problem is even if the gameplay is different, their marketing makes it feel like it's a Splatoon. Like, if you just saw it,
what they did was like, because you can stack the foam, you can stack the foam to make ramps for yourself, and you can use the ramps to even like jump over people or jump over things, which is kind of
that's interesting. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff borrowed from Splatoon. I'll give it that. There's just not enough there yet. And the characters all sound like Yuri Lowenthal going through puberty. I was like, why does everybody sound like one guy?
Every time someone mentions Yuri Lowenthal, I'm like, oh yes, the game.
One of the characters literally sounded like him, but like 10 years ago. And I was like, what is...
God. Did you hear about people are calling a boycott on Spider-Man because of him?
Why? Because
of his statement that he made.
He told everybody to get over it.
Yep. They're like, well, we're not going to play it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
You can't tell us what to do.
Yeah,
that's the opposite of get over it.
So literally, I told somebody the story about him saying get over it, and they had said, did you feel like he was talking directly to you? And I said, yes.
I immediately thought of you when I read it.
But I'm still gonna play it. I'm just going to ignore his
Keep his
face.
mask on.
Yeah.
I also asked him if he's gonna get a copy of the game, and he's like, "I don't know. I'm gonna buy it, but I don't. They don't always give it to me, you know."
I think that's sad.
That's weird. That
should
should
always
be
get him.
part of it. Yeah.
They should strike over that. Anyway,
No,
other than
Jumping
that,
ahead.
Speaking of Xenoblade, this
Mhm.
weekend into Monday is the Tetris 99 Xenoblade. So if you want that skin,
I don't care.
definitely play through that. If you
We're
ever
not
want
doing
to
the
sing
thing.
in Tetris and know what it feels like to be obliterated in something, you can always do that too. And then with Chris, we played a sequel to a popular action duo that's just not as popular in the US called Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill. But this game is called Slaps and Beans 2. If you look them up, there are kind of like a buddy duo, almost like Lethal Weapon, but they do a lot of slapstick. It's kind of like A-Team, so there's no violence. There's no like blood. There's no killing. It's just basically slapping people really hard, throwing them over a boat or like into a table.
Just the vibe of this, as you're describing it to me, I immediately thought of, yes, The Adventures of Bob and Steve, the Splinter Cells. Which very few people remember that, but me.
I forgot about that. And we noticed both characters had their own fighting style, and then I showed him a mini documentary about them, and the whole time Chris was just like, "That's in the game. So's that. That guy's in the game."
Essentially, the sequel to the original game. The sequel was kickstarted, so people really wanted to see it. It was an homage to their entire cinematic oeuvre, that kind of thing. It turns out they're huge everywhere except the United States, which is weird because they had they changed their names from Italian to American names like Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill, and they started with spaghetti westerns. So very strange.
And the English, because they have it voiced in 6 languages in this game. The English voice, one of the guys is the stunt voice, I guess you could call him, or voiceover artist for Harrison Ford. So that was neat.
So is this local multiplayer only, or is there any online?
It's only local.
Damn it! I was like, I was gonna join in because this looks just stupid in the best way.
It is definitely really cool the way we had to do everything from making our way through a choir while singing the song. So you have to play a rhythm game. There's another one where we had to eat more food than the enemies did.
I won that one.
Chris excelled at that. Or we had to keep our banana boat afloat.
There was a crocodile on the other side trying to tip it over and get all the bananas.
And then in a twist, they even in their movies they've never hit women. So when you finally go against a female boss, you're not supposed to punch her. You're just supposed to tie enough balloons to her that she floats away.
She basically looked like Sigourney Weaver from Alien 2. So
that's pretty good. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, that's been we slapped a lot of beans.
I will have to check this game out. Just another to add to my list of ridiculousness I need to play. All right. So moving on, Chris, what have you been up to?
Well, aside from also playing Slaps and Beans 2, I found out a couple of really good Mugen-style games based on the Mega Man and Mega Man X series that are fighting games. They basically took sprites from the Power Battle and Marvel vs. Capcom, and they used everybody from Mega Man 1 to Mega Man 6 in one game with voices and everything, and it's a really fun fighter. They had a Mega Man X version, but it was incomplete, but it was still pretty cool to see. It's called, what was it again? Well, I'll find out later.
In the middle of the show, he's just going to yell it out.
Yes, that was it. But aside from that, because we talked about World of Darkness last podcast, I've been fiending for more information because I haven't read the source books or played a World of Darkness game in years. So now I'm seeing where the entire thing has caught up. It's been bought, sold. There are new editions. There's a game in the ether somewhere a video game. There's mods for the original, apparently, Rachel says.
And there's a bunch of like point and click text ones that you can get on Steam or actually they started out on the 3DS of all places.
Oh wow.
Yeah. One of them was on the 3DS, I think, and that came out of nowhere. But they're on Switch, both of them. So if you're looking for a quick little game to play, then yeah, look no further. There's a Vampire the Masquerade game, 2 of them on Switch.
I might look into that.
Yeah.
It's just that whenever I look into actual playings of Vampire the Masquerade, I tend to be more toward jokey, lively stuff like Dimension 20. So when they do Vampire the Masquerade stuff, it's always so dour and pretentious. And I get that's the vibe, but yeesh.
There's a few. I'll have to look up the few that I've seen just coming across my feed on TikTok. There's a few of them that are actually really hysterical. So if I find them, I'll send them your way. So
cool.
So most of the D&D stuff I listen to is like Not Another D&D podcast, which is pretty good.
That works too.
I don't consume D&D content really. I just have one actual play podcast that I listen to.
Yeah, I never actually get a chance to play, so I'm just like, at least listen to it.
Yep, Monster of the Week is where I live. So
there you go. That's good recommendations.
Yeah, well, that's the name of the tabletop game. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Good recommendations.
Yes. It's much simpler than D&D. So.
All right. Well, I will go into what I've been up to. So I'm now over 3 days worth of gameplay in full 3 days into Starfield. And I just now found a new mechanic. There's magic. Like there's a whole, it's basically magic like inside of Starfield, which tripped me out.
Are you a space wizard?
I can screw with gravity and make like gravity wells, and I can now make
space wizard
living things. Yeah, I'm basically becoming a space wizard.
You're a space wizard. Okay.
This game gets trippy. Like I find it funny. I see all these reviews that talk about like, oh, it's repetitive and the story goes nowhere. And I'm like, what are you playing? Because it keeps doing all these crazy new things. Like I ended up becoming a sheriff of like a space cowboy world for a little while. And I was like an active space marine. And then I'm like a scientist chasing down aliens, and now I'm looking for parts that are creating small black holes, and I can now mess with like space and time. And I'm like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like you're only bored if you actively want to be.
That's why I appreciate when they do a review in progress. Like I want to know as they keep going in the game what they think of it, instead of I played it until the deadline and this is what I think. It's like, give me a review in progress. Take your time. I want to know all of it.
Yeah, I find it funny, like how I keep seeing like so many negative stories about it. Kotaku finally put out their review and they lambasted it. They were talking about like how it's this terrible game, and people are celebrating like, oh, because of that review, it now drops it down as the worst reviewed Bethesda game they've ever made. It's like lower than Fallout 76. And I'm like, okay, you guys aren't reviewing it. You're actively just trying to get credit by saying the worst things you can have about it. Like, it's not a perfect game. I have absolutely hilarious glitches and things that have happened, but you cannot sit here and say nothing happens.
I think your first issue was thinking Kotaku was a news site.
True.
Oh,
yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah, no, he does have a point. I used to get all my news from them, but ever since a couple of the reporters left that were actually, good people, it went downhill.
Yeah. I mean, because I looked at it like at the actual map of space, and all this time I've played and all these things I've done, I'm not even a quarter way into the galaxy. There is like, I've started getting loading screens that have been showing other types of planets, and I'm seeing stuff that looks like, you mentioned alien. Well, some of these I'm terrified to find. Like you mentioned aliens earlier. One of them, it looks like the planet is covered in that like living tissue with these massive bug things running around. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a fun one if I ever come across it. Like, I'm going to land and go like, you know what? I don't need what's here. Let's go.
I think I saw that planet in an Easter egg video where they said one of them is basically a scene for scene almost of set pieces from Alien.
Oh, Jesus. That's going to be a fun one.
Because they said, I believe they said in that one, You cannot be caught, otherwise it'll eat you, basically. So it's a stealth mission where you're basically playing a miniature version of Alien Isolation.
Oh God. So I'm still having a blast playing it, which I'm glad. Like, I'm just kind of going through. We do need to schedule, because I've been traveling a bunch, more time to stream, because I want to continue the other character that we made of Nez.
Poor Nez.
Poor Nez has been neglected while Zen has been just exploring the galaxy.
She's taking a nap.
Yeah. She's the one that ran into Grandma who saw a space nudist. So,
She taking a nap.
She taking a nap. That's a lot. Other than that, I've been just kind of playing stuff as I travel, but I have gone to New York this week, and I got to meet up with my good friends, Carol and Peter, who were nice enough to let me see their ungodly impressive apartment in the middle of New York. And then we went around. They took me to get New York pizza, finally, and then some coffee and a cupcake, all of which was really good, by the way. Got some good photography around the neighborhood. And during that whole journey, I took the train. I was working up in Peekskill, took the train down from Peekskill to Grand Central, which I called her as soon as I walked into Grand Central finally, because I was like, I don't care how many times I've seen this in movies or how much people talk about it. That place is mind-blowing when you walk in and finally see it in person. I cannot describe it. I'm sure you said you guys are from New York. So
Chris and I have lived it, yeah.
Right. You've seen it, so you can imagine, my brain basically imploded when I first walked in there, because I'm just looking around going, holy shit. I'm like, I'm going to take a few photos. Nothing's going to live up to what I'm seeing right now. So I just sat there for a while, just kind of taking it in. So that was great. I've always wanted to see that. Went from there, and I went out, and I think I was the exit of, Lexington and 43rd, I think is where I was. And Carol, I love her to death, was like, hey, we'll get you a ride over to our apartment. Can you walk down to 3rd? And I responded back, 3R_D ? Like, 3rd? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm on 43rd. Okay. So I just start trudging my way down. Ooh. And I'm in like the mid 30s, where she's like, so you made it yet? And I'm like, Carol, I'm only in like the 30s. Like, I've got a hell of a walk ahead of me. And she decided to divert me to the ferry. So I got to take the ferry over to Brooklyn, which was fun. That's my first time being on a ferry.
Nice.
Not on a boat. People are just like, are you going to be okay? I was like, I'm on boats all the time. So, but it's first time on a ferry. So why not? I'm taking it in like a tourist. Took the ferry over to Brooklyn. She got me a ride from there to her apartment, walked around. And then she got me another ride out. I got to go across the Brooklyn Bridge, and had me dropped off at the door of the Nintendo store. So I was like hand delivered right to the Nintendo store. And I was like, this is great. But what made it even better, because I was happy to be there, but friend of the show and good friend of mine, Shell Shock Prime, actually met me there. So I got to see him in person, which was great because he was taller than I thought. I don't know. I always thought he was a little bit shorter. I was like, that's great. Apparently his brothers are taller than him. So I was like, good God, that's a big family. Because we're already kind of tall. So I got some pictures around there and wandered around. Of course, I didn't get to see the burned and blown up Game Boy, because that's gone. Probably been moved to whatever this new Nintendo museum is they're building in Japan, because there's always something, every museum I go to, that I want to see that disappears before I get there. It's like the original Star Trek Enterprise model, like they filmed with. The last 3 times I've traveled to the Smithsonian, it has been moved for some reason. It was either pulled for cleaning, moved to another display to show somewhere, or they were working on that part of the building and closed it down. And I'm like, I just want to go look at it, please. I've traveled here 3 times.
I think this time around, I think they retired it, because they said it being on every day for almost like 20 years. They said, okay, time to give it a rest. I mean, unless they refurbish the insides and do it again. But
yeah, then it kind of kills the purpose of what it was, that it survived. It's still, Amanda got pictures of it before, so at least she got to see it. So I saw it by proxy with my wife. I don't know. But yeah, I came back Tuesday. I had a really fun trip. It was great. I did come back with an almost complete plush Pikmin set. I have all of them except that they make, except for the white poison Pikmin. They did not have that one in stock. So I'm on a hunt to find him. And I'm hoping they'll make the little green ghost one from Pikmin 4, as well as the ice Pikmin. But I have them all on display in my bedroom. Amanda thinks it's hilarious. It's just big old plush Pikmin in there. And then, of course, I had to get a shirt. So I picked the
nice
NES one because I'm going to represent what I started with. And as we say in the South, bless the cashier, because he was just, oh, you like Nintendo? Which ones do you have? And I was like, how do I say this without sounding like an ass? And I was just kind of like, all of them? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, all of them pretty much, except for like the only one that I saw that I never saw before was the TV15 setup they have there.
Did they have the AVS still? The keyboard?
No, they didn't. I didn't see the actual because you're talking about the prototype AVS, right?
Yeah, they had the keyboard and all the fixins when they first opened.
I didn't see it. I looked at it. They had like a bunch of different DSs, 3DSs.
I wouldn't be surprised if they often swap out displays just to kind of mix it up a little bit for return visitors.
Yeah.
They can't keep the same thing there all the time. So,
yeah, I didn't even think that was there. So that's kind of a surprise that you mentioned it. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I did get to see a giant Splatoon gun, so that was great. And they had the life-size Link from Tears of the Kingdom, which I got some good photos. And it's now my computer wallpaper because it's a nice like forced perspective of his hand, and you can see his face like in focus.
I love that. That reminds me of MegaCon 2 years ago where they had a true to size Guardian from Breath of the Wild that someone built with lights and sound and everything.
Oh, yeah, I saw one at Dragon Con. That was impressive.
Probably the same one.
Ew, that was insane.
Yeah, it was really cool. They had a big one and then one that was like partially submerged and the head would turn. And I was like, damn.
I think that's the one I saw there because it looked like it was one of the broken ones that still moved. Like they weren't walking around in it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But I got to see them open it up while they were working on it. And I was like, that is some complicated wiring. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah, no, it was very impressive. I had just stopped and watched it work. And I was just like, how did like what kind of servos you got going on in there? Like, and then they were like fascinated. They were like, oh yeah, let me show you. And I was like, oh,
I've run into people like that they're not trying to sit there and hide their secret for how they do it. Like they love people asking about it, talking about it, especially like engineers and things.
Yeah, not enough people ask. Yeah.
I think one of my favorites of that was a dude I met at Dragon Con. He had one of the power armors from Fallout that he had made. And the guy's not even a normal engineer. He's just like a custodian at a school, I think he said. And he had built up this thing where it'll actually open up. He can get into it. It'll close back around and he can walk. And I'm like, I'm just losing my shit over the pneumatic system and everything he did. I was like, this is amazing. So, but my other obsession here that led to the, I'm really sorry, Stephen Agaforia. I got a new drone. My little, DJI Mini 4 Pro, which I decided to upgrade. The battery's charging, that's why it's out. But this thing is super tiny. I've almost broke the arms twice because they switched how you fold it up from every other one. So I keep trying to fold the arms back and flip the back legs, and it's reversed. But it's super tiny. But I've been using it to do like some time lapses and some other stuff. So I've got this, as someone referred to it, Benny Hill style look of me cutting the backyard today. Because I'm just like zipping all around cutting the grass because it's been weeks since I've done it. So it's kind of overgrown. So that was fun. But yeah, I'll probably end up posting some more shots online. But Stephen, I'll give you a heads up. I'll put them as spoilers and not include you. Just tell you not to look.
Or better yet, tell me first so I'm there when he opens it.
I had no idea until you mentioned that. I was like, I'm just casually going, oh, here's some aerial photos. This is great. Whoops. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to our news because thankfully our little pre-chat has been nice, but we're about to get depressing for a little while. So let's get into that. Oh, wrong button. Oh, I can mess with the volume.
Ooh.
Holy shit, I didn't know that. I'm learning. I wondered what that was. I thought it was this whole time, just say a little behind the scenes here, I thought that was like how long the clip was, not a volume slider. Because it says infinite next to it. Yeah, that sounds better. Okay. That'll be good for music in the future. Because I had an idea to get one of our other friends, Rob, from one of the other podcasts, about doing like some particular chiptune music. Because he's getting back into gaming, but I was going to find old songs that are redone in chiptunes on like the NES, SNES, stuff like that. And then play them for him and see if he can guess what song it is. I thought it'd be fun. So hopefully we'll get him on as a guest. All right. So starting off, the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Radio and Television Artists have voted to go on strike, or at least have the option to go on strike against the video game industry after multiple runs of negotiations have pretty much petered out. They've kind of informed them going like, hey, we're not striking yet, but the vote has been approved that if we say so at any time, we can strike. So you either come to the table and we work this out, or you're going to have a lot of text adventures for a while. Because you won't be able to use anyone's likenesses. You won't be able to have them actually doing speaking roles or referencing them, which is pretty much just going to ruin the career of Hideo Kojima, because I don't think he can make anything without an actor in it now.
Ooh.
That seems to be his like main obsession, is just putting actors in there. Because I don't know, what was the backpack
game comes out?
Right, what was the backpack carrying game that was just
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding is just
Package delivery
reference. Yeah, package delivery. It's Amazon and a
post-apocalyptic Amazon delivery. No cars, black tar creatures, water.
I think it's less apocalyptic than Amazon, because I think
an
you can take
submerged in Tang.
That's such a weird.
Starring Conan O'Brien.
I've never heard it described like that.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But now anytime someone brings up,
put a straw in.
But now anytime somebody brings up Death Stranding, now I'm going to be like, yes, the infant submerged in Tang.
Oh, it's the Tang baby.
It's the Tang baby. And then someone's going to be like, don't you mean an orangutan? I'm like, no.
Rachel, you know where Tang was most famous from, right? Space.
Oh, God.
We brought the joke around.
My God.
We have to make laughs because I'm super depressed with the news today. So
it's just, listen, I got some good news that I added at the end because I freaked out about it 2 days ago. So there you go.
Awesome. I like ending on a high note.
Yeah.
So we're possible of having another strike coming in, which, I mean, all right, video game industry, pay your people. Which part of the news today proves you won't and haven't been and are having major issues. I'm trying to think, did we actually even cover the end of the other one? So on a good note, the writer's strike has officially ended, or at least the point of they can go back to work. They have a deal. They got almost everything they asked for, everything that the movie industry claimed they could not possibly do. It would ruin them. Yeah, they got most of it. So
they got most of it. Yeah. And as an update, they do go back to the negotiating table, like the committee for SAG goes back on Monday. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So hopefully the actors can get a deal going now that the writers have gone, but the writers are officially back to work.
Yes, they are being encouraged to continue to support SAG at the picket lines, but they can also resume work. So
yeah, which I'm already seeing stuff like all of a sudden on Twitter, The Daily Show showed back up, and I was like, oh, the writers are back.
Right. So
that'll be the first thing coming back fast.
Yes, the Strike Force 5 podcast has ended. However, they yeah, I know, it was really funny. But they still have a few episodes left that are coming out, but like all of them have gone back to work. Like
I still got to give them credit that the money they got from that they were using to pay their staff. Which is great.
Listen, say what you will about some actors being like, just not great people, but a lot of actors are really great people. So I think it's about for every bad person out there that's an actor, there's about 5 good people. So
And this is once again solidified. Drew Carey is a fucking
Yeah,
legend.
they need to have a plaque
the
on
goat,
the back of him.
the
Yeah.
goat. That is that man.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, how much money has he got? He doesn't give a shit. He's going to pay for everything for everyone he
Yeah.
can. Like, and just, yeah.
Well,
Good on Drew Carey.
here's hoping the country's still open. By the time we get our writers all good to go.
Yeah, they did pass a 45-day extension, I think, on that, which was going to, I believe,
Well,
the Senate last time I heard.
You know what actually matters in this, that they have an extension? Fat Bear Week is saved.
Hooray!
You guys know about that's a like
I
a
don't.
national. So it's
What is-
like a national park service thing.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to look up. Just Google it. Like there's a bunch of
I told him
pictures
Google it.
of actual like bears, grizzly bears, black bears. They're big old fat bears, and you have to vote on them to who the winner is.
We
Yes.
gamified overweight bears. Okay.
Yeah.
For hibernation.
It's for hibernation, okay? But it's
See
just
how you
one
go
of those.
before you go to bed.
It literally like it was shared with me on a Discord that I'm part of, and they said everyone remember to vote, and I was like, what is this? And I like learned the background behind it, and I was like, this is hysterical. And then after I looked at everything, I came across a post on X about like, guys, the government can't shut down. Fat Bear Week is going on. If it stops, they can't post any new things for Fat Bear Week.
Yeah.
And I was just
remember,
like, oh boy.
everybody, as we'll just say this as the adult to everyone else, please, for the love of God, vote for actual things with the same fervor you're going to vote for Fat Bear Week. You can have you can have the zealous need for both. We need people voting on stuff. So,
well, I mean, listen, Taylor Swift got thousands of people to register to vote.
Those are waters. I don't even want to wade into those waters. I'm afraid of what happens.
Not only that, the football player that attached himself to Taylor Swift has seen a almost 4,000% increase in his jersey sales, his social media followers, like
their podcast or whatever.
Listen,
why didn't
the golden goose?
The key to success is associate yourself positively somehow with Taylor Swift. That's it.
I am afraid of that power. I don't even.
The woman is too powerful, and she's using that
the
power.
Royal family got
well.
more coverage than this relationship.
Honestly,
like, everybody's just like, yeah, government's gonna shut down. But have you seen who Taylor Swift is dating?
Yeah, I desperately want people to watch or listen to this show, review all that fun stuff, and share it. Don't know if I'd ever want to wade into that water though, because that just seems like, if that's even a possibility, I'm afraid of what that would bring. Oh, it's your dog.
Yeah, don't mess with the Swifties or the BTS army.
Yeah, I'm staying away from both of those.
Yeah, there's other people that you shouldn't mess with either too. There's like six fandoms that you're just like, okay, we don't want to make them mad.
Well, apparently another fandom that you don't want to mess with, and Microsoft is finding out, is that of the FTC, because they're once again trying to block the purchase of Activision Blizzard King by Microsoft.
Listen, okay, someone at the FTC likely just doesn't want their Candy Crush changed.
You might get Halo on an occasion. I don't know.
Like Halo skin Candy Crush.
Gears of War Candy Crush.
They watched an episode of Columbo and thought they could do the same thing. Just one more thing. Just one more thing.
So I don't get why they're doing this, because even the UK, the CMA has finally okayed this. It is going through, and now no matter what, by I think it's October 18th, I believe is the date, the deal is going through. Like, there's no stopping this. It is done. But the FTC is trying to find legal loopholes to maybe break it apart afterwards or stop them.
This is the real reason why the government shutdown was postponed, so the thing could go through.
That's it. They're a bunch of Sony ponies. That's all the government is. Oh, God.
No, since it's postponed, there's a 45-day stop on it. It can still go through. If it had shut down.
That's true. You know, I mean, the deal is going through regardless, but they're
Yeah.
just trying to poke at them anyways. And it's like, is there an actual reason for this one in particular? Are they just trying to save face? Are they just really bored at work? They need more to do. I don't know.
This is like, this is like American Idol, and they want to sing one more song. It's like, no, you lost.
Yeah, this is the worst version of One More Thing for like, their version of E3. Steven, I see you added a little bit of a happier note here at the afterwards. You want to jump into that one?
Yeah, because everybody, with this whole court saga that happened with Microsoft and Activision, everybody always goes into this dream state of what if this is bought, or doom and gloom state, what if this is bought.
Right.
And Bloomberg spoke to the Capcom COO, I'm going to probably butcher it, Haruhito Sugimoto, and he said, no, we will reject all acquisition offers. Capcom is not for sale.
Capcom literally went, over my dead body.
They got plenty of those. They got Resident Evil.
We have Resident Evil, Street Fighter, and Monster Hunter money. Back off. And Mega Man money.
So it's good to know that so far Nintendo and Capcom can't be touched.
Yeah, no one can mess with Nintendo. I did get some more clarification about the whole Microsoft buying them. I think that conversation was like, if we could do it, it would be great. It'd be a feather in our cap, the crown jewel in the crown. But it's never going to happen.
Hey guys, I know the real reason.
Secret diary.
I know the real reason why Capcom can't be bought.
Why?
They have the best lawyers.
Oh God. Rachel with a win on that joke. All right.
Hey.
Damn. I just see someone in the background. Hand in their face.
Listen, if anyone's going to make a joke about Ace Attorney, it's me, your girl.
That's I love that series.
I do too.
Too bad they don't do any more investigations.
Listen, buy the new one when it comes out. They might do it. They might.
We shall see.
I'm going to make a nuisance of myself on...
and they might release Breath of Fire as a collection. I'm not holding my breath.
Listen, whatever social media they'll be on, I'll be like, hey, what's it got to take?
Yeah, as long as Capcom doesn't pull that, you have to buy so much of this game to prove that you want that one, like they pulled with Mega Man
That's the best
Legends
way
3.
to get a sequel.
I hate that. So what else I also hate is Epic. Their recent announcement. Epic Games is having epic layoffs of almost 900 employees. That's almost 16% of their current workforce. So they're also selling off Bandcamp to a company called Songtrader. Not familiar with who they are. Super Awesome, which is their marketing company, is being spun off to be its own separate company now. Epic made the lovely move of disabling their company Slack right before the announcement, which made everybody even more confused because no one could talk to each other all of a sudden. Nobody was aware of what was going on. And then in a memo sent to the company from CEO Tim Sweeney, he stated, quote, "For a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn. I have been optimistic we could power through this transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see that this was unrealistic." And then he went on to say, saying goodbye to people who have helped build Epic is a terrible experience for all. The consolation is that we've adequately funded to support laid-off employees, or that we're adequately funded to support laid-off employees. We're offering a severance package that includes 6 months base pay, and in the US, Canada, Brazil, 6 months of Epic paid healthcare. So, he's all sad that he's having to do this, but mind you, Epic is a privately owned company, mostly majority owned by Sweeney himself, but Tencent, that lovely hoarder of a company, Tencent Holdings owns 40% of the company because they bought up a bunch of that beforehand. And then no word if Tim Sweeney is actually cutting his bonuses or his pay whatsoever. He's been asked by an ungodly amount of people that have been messaging him directly, and he's yet to respond to a single person, which I'm sure his legal advisement have probably told him not to, but he could also have just had the common courtesy to say something or at least do it. But what's most confusing, Fortnite, which is owned by Epic, brings in almost $5-6 billion a year Plus, they get fees for all the games that use Unreal Engine, which how many titles are you aware of that have used Unreal Engine 4, are using Unreal Engine 5, still releasing for Unreal Engine 3? Like, it is, I think it's one of the most widely used gaming engines other than like Unity and stuff like that. Like, can anyone think of any other ones?
There's Game Maker, but that one's just gaining in popularity now.
Of course.
Right. So that's not a small, insignificant amount of fees that they're getting from that. And then on top of that, the Epic Game Store, they're getting about 335 million just last year, but they're still somehow spending more trying to build up and like giving away these free games and just blowing money on other stuff.
And they made sure to bring back the Make It Rain emote in Fortnite.
Yeah, the same day. It wasn't Make It Rain, it was the Share the Wealth is what they called it.
Wow.
Which was their ripoff of Make It Rain. So that very same day they announced all these layoffs, they have one of their Fortnite characters just throwing money to everybody like nobody could have made. That's just, I kind of hope maybe it was somebody that found out they're being laid off, just like threw it back in the store. Fuck you, we're doing this. And then after all of this, they turned around and Epic announced that the cost for V-Bucks will be increasing 12 to 15% in the US and a few other countries because of, quote, economic factors such as inflation and currency fluctuations, which I'm calling BS on.
It's just expensive everything now.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to increase the cost of that, they should be able to turn around and use that to pay the people they're keeping. Like 16% of your entire company is ridiculous amount of people to just let go all of a sudden. You know, I understand sometimes you're going to have redundancies and some people might get laid off in handfuls, but not that much. I mean, good Lord. So I'm going to go around the room with you guys. Stephen, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on this epic fuck up. Screw the language today.
It's hard to say that sometimes when you, having worked with certain companies that both in retail and otherwise, I won't name any names, but
right,
I've seen them overspend, and then I'm like, where is this going to lead? Where is this going to lead? Because you're overspending on things. And it makes me wonder if all these Epic Game Store exclusives, they just said like, oh, we have all this money. And then they're like, oh, but now our margins are going down. So now what do we do? No, you know, the pandemic's over, so nobody's staying home and playing Fortnite every day and not spending V-Bucks. So now they don't have that revenue stream being as lucrative as it once was. So you're starting to see these games as a service that when the service is no longer needed, what do? We don't have this cash cow. So the worst thing they do, though, is they say, we're going to have to start laying off people.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know it gets beaten into the ground with, like, Iwata, whenever the Wii U was doing poorly, cutting his pay, cutting his bonuses and all that stuff to try so they wouldn't have to lay anybody off. And it keeps, you know, that gets brought up. People talk about that, oh, in Japan, they're much more stringent about being able to do that. You have to, if you do layoffs, you have to actually go through regulation to prove why you had to and stuff like that. So they're more willing to kind of do what they have to avoid it. But still a really bad
comparison. They mainly do that for the best reason possible. And that is whoever is even not laid off, it's morale.
Yeah.
You're walking into a room that is just in a dark cloud. So if you either don't handle it properly, or you don't do something like Iwata did, which obviously like they can always claim like it'll ruin me or whatever, is your company takes a morale hit. So if somebody's operating at like 95%, like I'm gonna work as hard as I can to get this done, now they're like, am I next? Should I even finish what I'm doing? Like it's bad.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, like Unity screwed up so bad and just handed this plate of, you know, hey, you guys look absolutely fantastic, because everyone's talking about how much they love, you know, using the Unreal Engine and stuff. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, I dropped it. Like, we're just going to completely
like, here, hold my beer and my paycheck.
Right. Chris, do you have any thoughts on this whole mess?
I really think it's just an unfortunate a long-term side effect of trying to become Steam that has finally come home to roost.
Mm.
Epic has spent so much on acquiring exclusives and just trying to emulate something that they did not need to be. And Steam is still Steam. Epic is something that I have to turn off every time I turn on my computer. So they spent money trying to become something they could not be, and now they're reaping the rewards, so to speak.
Agreed. I still wonder if they had kind of buried the hatchet on that, and instead of trying to make their own store, if they worked with Valve, like all the people buying Steam Decks, like how many of like I'd probably play Fortnite on it if I could, just because it'd be convenient, fun way to kind of mess around with it. But doesn't work, can't play it. So any game, I don't even bother with Epic because I can't use it on my Steam Deck. Why bother? Rachel, you have any thoughts on it?
So I have the Epic Games store thing on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I only use it to check once a week what free games they are offering. I have only purchased. Well, hold on. Let me pull it up here. Let me pull up the Epic Games launcher and see what I have, because I think I only got like maybe I only installed like I want to say like 2 of the games. Let's see what's in my library.
It's gonna want like 6 updates and she's gonna disappear.
I did buy from them once, but that's when they had a $15 off of 20.
Yeah, I think I only bought like 1 or 2 things before the Steam Deck came out, and once that came out, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'm just on Steam now for all the time for PC stuff.
But I have noticed that like I check every week. I check literally every week, and I have in my library the ones that I have installed. I installed Submerged and Windbound. That's what I installed. Okay. The things that I have gotten just because they were free was Amnesia Rebirth, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Chris Tales, whatever that was, In Sound Mind, the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, because that was free, Star Wars Squadrons, and Ukulele Impossible Lair. Yeah, that's all I've gotten. But I've noticed in the last like
Epic.
I've noticed in the last several weeks, like of the free stuff, it's not all that great. Like right now, free to play is Speedstorm, Genshin Impact, whatever. Right. The like free games that you get is Model Builder and Solstice, but Solstice looks weird. So.
Well, that first one that you just said in passing is actually good news that I forgot to include, is that the Disney Speedstorm, which is a really well put together Mario Kart clone or Sega Sonic Racing clone, is now free to play. Is it predatory with if you want to get your characters faster? Sure. But you can still play through it and unlock people that way.
And that's good.
And when you get to hear dance remixes of everything from the Mickey Mouse Club to Be a Man, it's really cool.
Is it on Switch?
It's on Switch. I even tried it on Switch. I forgot to include that. It's on PS5, PC, Xbox, and it's free to play everywhere. They put out a new trailer saying we're sick of charging $30 for it because nobody's buying it, so it's free.
I mean,
that's actually pretty smart on their part. Like if
it should have started off that way, probably. I mean,
I got to hear the intro to Hercules.
Yes,
the lady singing. They made that into like a pop remix too. So I'm going through the Hercules level. So like, what am I listening to? This is a banger.
So I'm going to as soon as I get off here, I'm going to download it onto my Switch and check it out because
Update just added all the Aladdin characters. They have people all the way back. You can races like Belle and Mulan.
Curious.
Literally me racing. Who put the gladiator?
Sometimes it's like I don't want to keep racing. I want to slow down and listen to this music. I wish there was a jukebox in there. You probably have to unlock.
Listen,
introducing the Mario Kart for all those theater kids.
There you go.
It's for me. It's just for me.
What? Oh, and it's cross progression as long as you have a Game Loft ID. So
Oh,
whatever
okay.
system you play it on, everything you earn will just keep carrying over to
Oh,
the
yeah.
other two
What's
systems.
another sign in?
Oh, he's a
Oh,
good baby.
so yeah, I think Tim Sweeney hopefully is going to be bothered for a long time about like, oh, okay, what about your bonus? What about your pay? How's that going? Like, it just seems like they had everything going for them and somehow just completely threw it all out. Like just the dumbest things they could do. Um, but it's not a really good sign for a lot of the gaming industry where a lot of these bigger ones are trying to do these things and just completely failing at it. We had the conversations last week about like Volition being shut down and other ones because the Embracer group couldn't handle what they were doing and
I
ended up
just, it's
biting
it's
them
a
in the ass
big,
about it.
I think so. The with everyone being stuck at home in 2020, it brought about a lot of good things. It brought
Yeah.
some people made their careers on Twitch during that time.
Mhm.
There was a lot of like gaming communities like successes with companies and all that kind of stuff. But then you have these people that kind of, I would say, some of them hit the ground running and then they were smart after, and didn't keep doing things the way that they were. Some people started things just a little too late. They were behind the trend, on trend, but still behind it.
Right.
And I think Epic Games was one of those. And it was just one of those things that I'm just like, this is going to keep happening to gaming companies if they don't very quickly make some decisions. Not like whatever these people are doing, though. Don't do that.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which company it was, but we had one past couple of weeks we talked about that did some layoffs as well. They were at least honest about it. They were like, yeah, we were making so much more money during the pandemic that we expanded and did all this other stuff. And then when that pandemic money ended, we realized we overgrew. We did too much. We had to trim some of it out. And that's what led to it. It sucked, but at least they were honest about it. Like, yeah, we made bad business decisions based on like, oh, this money will never end. Which is a story as old as the gaming industry
And
all the
I do
time.
have something to add to the next news story you're about to roll into.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of cancellations, Sega has canceled their multiplayer extraction shooter, which lovely name for that, called Hyenas, from developer Creative Assembly. The title was aimed for sometime later this year, having already had a beta from August 31st to September 15th, which it's not good when this is the first time I've heard about it, when it was not that long ago for a beta. But go ahead. What you got on that one, Steven?
So as the saying goes, when it rains, it pours. Especially in New York. But the looking further into it, Creative Assembly actually put out a press release of their own saying it's not just that. They've also gotten hit with redundancy, so they're going to get some layoffs.
Oh.
And Sega of Europe said they're actually going through a restructuring as a whole.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a mess over there. So it's basically it's layoff week, which is bad.
That sucks. Like, I heard nothing about this game. I don't know anything about it.
I saw one trailer, I think, at the Jeff Keighley extravaganza he does during E3, and it looked really neat because all of the collectibles you could get were all Sega themed. So you could get Sonic, and you could get like Jet Set Radio or Space Channel 5. So everybody was like hyped for that.
Stuff like that.
And it was like you had to pull off heists and stuff like that. But then, Payday 3 came out and people kind of forgot about Hyenas. But then again, as a
Payday 3 isn't doing too good.
Payday 3 is almost essentially Diablo 4 type dead right now because the matchmaking is at like you almost never get into a match. There's people who have tried for like hours on end and they can't get into it.
Apparently the developers are now like in an emergency mode trying to make a single player version of it. I'm like, you guys should have had that to begin with.
In the beginning, and people were like, okay, that's fine. So when the matchmaking doesn't work, I'll play with bots and I'll still enjoy the game. And by not putting that in because they were rushed to market, you yet again have another so-called even, I don't even know if it's a game as a service, but you have a multiplayer only game that once the interest is gone,
it's dead.
What next?
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
There are some games that can surface from something like that, but it takes a long time and a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, and it comes down to a lot of it. Like, even if a game still maintains a niche group, you can survive on that if you're, focused on that and supporting your group that you have. But this was just thrown out and never had a chance to build up anything. And people are like, well, why fight with this? We'll go back and play the old ones. We still have those. We've got so much invested in it. I'll just go back and play the second one again. And yeah, something similar happened with that, with the sequel when they brought it to the Switch, which was not a bad port. I liked it, but the people around it just kind of died out. Like, I could not get an online group going on for a while. So,
well, at least Sony's having a better week, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
About that, I need to clip that. That's great. Just that response. Rachel's just, oh, God damn it. So Sony's having a bit of a crazy week. Starting off. Have you heard of a company called Gameheads? They make statues, things like that.
So,
Rachel, you really got to say something here.
No, I haven't heard of them. The only I have heard of Big Heads. That's the big graphics that go on your wall. But I've never heard of Gameheads. I thought it was the same thing. So shows what I know.
Sony has demanded that Gameheads must destroy their inventory of Sony statues and products. And then to make this whole thing even worse, Gameheads state they paid Sony the fees for the IPs and then are telling customers to contact Sony for refunds and to complain, even going so far as to give out the email address of Judy Ward, the Sony commercial partnerships lead. Publicly gave out her email and told them... Go ahead.
But then who's in the wrong here?
So what people are theorizing, because this is still kind of an ongoing, is that they got the rights to use the IP from Sony, did the pre-orders, and then used the money from the pre-orders to pay the fee. And then when Sony, I guess, canceled it or changed whatever was going on or whatever they demanded they destroy this stuff while they were actively shipping out and making stuff, that they no longer had the money to refund because they used it. So they're telling them, like, well, go back to Sony and do this. And it's just a whole back and forth. I'm pretty sure Gameheads is probably up to some crap. There's going to be more coming out from this, I hope, but Sony's been oddly quiet about this whole regard. That might also be because of this next thing, because Jim Ryan is stepping down to retire from Sony. So their leadership's a little busy right now.
That might end up being a good thing.
Probably, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm curious at the timing with the mess that the FTC lawsuit they pushed and the lackluster Call of Duty deal they ended up with, along with other issues. I don't know if he's retiring as if they're like, you need to go. Like,
well,
done.
Isn't like the, like, not necessarily owned, but head of the company, isn't that transferring back over to, like, I think it's in Japan's hands now?
Well, yes. I think they're going to have like an interim guy and then how they're going to go from there. But
it's essentially all Japan again. So
which,
they don't have
like I said, that this might end up being a good thing. So
yeah,
it's good or bad. Jim Ryan had some archaic thoughts on things, especially when he was the one before PlayStation Premium was a thing and Essential was a thing. He was like, people don't want to play our old library. That's done. They want the new graphics.
Yeah, backwards compatibility isn't important. And the other reason he may have been ousted or led to an early retirement, a hacker group called ransomed.vc claims to have hacked Sony and demands payment for their ransomware from all of their systems, or else they will be selling the data they claim to have taken.
Make sure to change your password and set up your two-factor, because so far they've proven that they have access by showing a lot of intranet sites and internal photos as well.
Yeah, I've been looking to see, because they said the 28th was when they were going to have the deadline to release some of that. And I haven't seen if any of it has actually gone public yet or not. I haven't seen any announcements or stuff. I don't know if it's a lot of sites are just not going to want to report on it, or
if Sony's doing like a takedown palooza to make sure nobody sees it.
Maybe, but I mean, it's the internet. Once it's out there, good luck. You know, that's not going to stop parts of Reddit and other places from spreading that stuff around.
They can try. They can still put out the threat saying,
I mean, look at the Nintendo
ransomware. If you talk about it, if you show anything from it, we're going to Same as
Right.
the NPA.
Well, you've got like, remember the Nintendo Giga Leak or whatever that happened, all that information that ended up getting out there. And Nintendo is really good at trying to stop that stuff, but it still made it out for a lot of things. So, yeah, this is, like I said, this has been a week from hell for Sony. They've been dealing with a lot of stuff. And, so we'll go around the room with this lovely three, hat trick of screw ups from Sony. Steven, you want to start us off what your thoughts on these are?
Well, okay, so the first one,
Uh-huh.
love it or leave it, game heads.
Yeah.
Don't blame the licensor here. Blame like the people manufacturing it. If you lost the license, then you regret to inform your customers. You give them refunds
Mm-hmm.
and pray that some of your customers, and they will, I've seen it, will give you empathy. There's ones that will be like, that's disappointing to hear. And then guess what? Any vitriol they have will probably be geared towards Sony, because they have their money back, but they're upset that Sony has reneged on the license and demanded that they destroy their products.
Yeah, that's one I'm really curious to see. Like, we've got to get more information about what happened.
like,
Something's going to come out.
A part of that like could have been bad against Sony, but because Gameheads is so bullish on the refunds, Sony's now even not the focus of that anymore. Everybody just wants to take down Gamehead, saying like, you're a horrible company if you can't refund somebody because you can't make something anymore. This wasn't a Kickstarter. This is actual products you pre-ordered.
Yep.
And then the other stuff, it seems, I hope that Sony's not taking the MGM Grand approach to hackers and just saying, we'll find them, we'll figure it out. It's like, no, I hate to say this, but pay the men or man, and then maybe lock the doors next time to your online vault. Like, you already went through a hack, Sony, that you had to give, myself included, 5 years of identity protection because you had to pay a class action lawsuit. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes. If you get hacked once, you're supposed to just tie everything up so it doesn't happen again.
Remember, this is
that's the weird part.
One.
This is not the first time.
Yeah, this is the third I can think of.
Oh man!
When you have 75 million people's financial information released, it's like so many
in an unencrypted text document. Like, come on. Because there was also, what was it? Sony Pictures got hacked, and that's where all the movie leaks and all the other stuff came out from this prior. Yeah. Ugh.
It's like, whoever stop using Mad Cat's locks on your doors or something, because everybody keeps breaking them down and then getting into all your files.
Yeah. Chris, what are your thoughts on these?
As said before, it's ridiculous that Sony keeps letting this happen. It's ridiculous. And you have to wonder what it's going to take for them to finally lock the doors and get better security. As for the Gameheads thing, I'm not sure just giving the email to someone else so they can be flame baited is a good idea. But I don't know enough about the company. This is the first time I've heard of that particular company as well.
Same.
So,
yeah.
Either way, it's a very unfortunate situation. And I think Steve had a point where they should just buckle down and refund the money because this is not Kickstarter. You can't just say, oh, well, the Indiegogo's right out. Sorry, guys. That doesn't always work.
Yeah, because I remember the statues they're doing. It's like The Last of Us, Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, and stuff like that. Like, it's just a series of weird statues. But Rachel, what are your thoughts on this whole mess?
I'm just, I can't say I'm necessarily surprised because this has happened before. But like, would it kill them to get a proper information security officer on staff? Like, would it kill them? Like, literally, there are tons of people out there that are really well versed in this kind of stuff. There are people out there like, black hat, gray hat, white hat community that would gladly take a job there under that position for the right amount of money.
Oh, yeah, they'd have fun trying to break it.
Yeah, they'd have fun trying to break it and then making money off essentially making it impossible for someone else to do it. It's not a hard it's not rocket science. You don't got to get a rocket scientist. You just got to, that's one of the things that always really irks me about not just Sony, but any gaming company in general. They're so reactive. They're not proactive with their planning. Yep. I can count on my hand the number of times I have seen a gaming company, a software company, a tech company in general being proactive instead of reactive. And
they need to plan on the when, not the if.
Yeah, it's going to keep happening unless they start being proactive. And go ahead.
I was going to say, as the late, great Billy Mays would say, but wait, there's more.
Yeah. It's just like, ugh. And I don't have an opinion on the game heads thing other than it's kind of funny that they reacted that way, that I'm just going to give out this person's email. Like, literally, that's just generally a bad move. Like, that is some younger than me type move. Like, that is the move of someone in their late teens, early 20s type of thing that they would do. So
I kind of wonder if they're upset about this whole deal, so they publicly put out this woman's email address going like, oh, well, she'll get so much crap from all these people. That'll teach them. And I'm like, you just proved everything that wants to do a license with you is like, we don't want to give them any of our information. We don't want to contact them because if anything goes wrong or anything changes, they're going to basically just throw us out to the public, because I don't know if that email address was a publicly given one, and I will not mention what it is here.
Yeah, it was very immature.
Yeah. So hopefully Miss Ward is not dealing with too much crap, but I'm afraid she probably is. And if their IT department already can't handle what's going on, God help whatever gets sent to her email address.
God help them.
Yeah. Because people are assholes. And one last little bit of surprise news for the Sony week. The trailer and announcement tweets for the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, which was supposed to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, have been removed. All the videos have been made private. All the tweets have been deleted. When they were pressed to ask about this, Disney redirected the questions to Sony. And then Sony stated, quote, as part of normal business, we delist assets with licensed music when the licenses expire.
So and it was only the Star Wars theme, which is owned by Disney.
Yeah. So their license on the song expired. I mean, that's pretty normal, actually. It's weird, but it's normal.
The whole thing is like a ask your father, ask your mother, like, loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the weird thing about it, though, is like, okay, cool. You take down the trailer because of that. It's a weird thing because this is a game that's not out yet with an active license, but deleting the announcement tweets and other mentions of it, that doesn't require the music. That's not a license thing you just take away. Why was that done?
We got to say something. We got to what can we say that's generic and neutral as possible? Licensing thing. Okay, do we have any language in our toolkit?
When you put the plug in the outlet,
somebody contact PR. Hello? PR? What can we say?
We don't have IT people, or we don't have enough lawyers for this. Get the IT people. They're not busy. Make them make the statement.
Yeah.
Like, let's just add more crap to them. I think this development's in trouble.
Who's here in marketing? Who's here?
Is going on. Yeah.
No, clearly nobody was there in marketing that day.
As a side note, there's actually a class action lawsuit going on with even the Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Oh, yeah.
The DLC being removed and not being made. So now that's being gone against them. But that's not Sony. So Sony
that's Aspire, I think.
Yeah, that's Aspire saying, like, we promised.
Yeah, Aspire has really botched up some stuff recently, so good luck to them on that one. Ugh. All right, so our next little bit here, EA, it's a changing of everything. EA has officially lost the FIFA license.
Finally, some good news.
Right. So EA, who loves to hoard up every license they can get their hands on, they were the ones for NASCAR. They're still the only ones for the NFL. They tried really hard to get the NBA, who laughed them out of the room. They've now lost that. So all prior entries have been delisted from all online stores, including the recently released FIFA 23. So it's been delisted less than a year after its release. FIFA 22 and 23 are still available to play via EA Play for the moment. You can't purchase them, but if you're already, I think that's probably some kind of contract agreement that'll, once it expires, it'll go away. They quoted, at the request of the publisher, EA Sports, FIFA 23 is unlisted on the Steam store and will not appear in search. EA themselves has not commented. That was actually from Valve, sorry. But their annual soccer title will now be called EAFC.
What does FC stand for?
Football club.
That's
okay.
Join the football club, yay!
What? Okay,
I thought it was consumers, but if it's EA.
So listen. That'll be the European title, but they're gonna have to change it to something else in the States because nobody's gonna know what that means.
No, it's on shelves. It's on shelves right now.
I saw ads for it at the
marketing in Targets. It is EAFC.
It was on the big screen behind the counter at GameStop.
People are going to buy an EA football game and go, "What is this?
They're going to be very confused."
Obviously, the correct athletes on the cover. So if
they're still going to be confused.
See, that's what I'm wondering. If they no longer have the FIFA license,
do you realize how unintelligent the average person is here?
Especially the average football watcher.
and
I mean that in both countries.
Yeah. I would say football, soccer, people are slightly more intelligent than American football watchers.
We're violent, though.
They are more violent, yes. That'd
be a great question. Yeah. Who'd win in a fight? Soccer hooligans or a football team that the fans that just won?
You know what? I'd watch that.
Yeah.
What's that game you can get, like the totally realistic like fighting simulator or whatever, or battle simulator? Listen, make those and send them each other.
Forget the
totally accurate battle simulator.
Forget the cage fight between Zuck and Elon.
Oh,
I want to see.
I think they have
soccer, aka football, fans versus American football fans.
So you want EA Fight Club?
I want EA Fight Club. but actually, it's like instead of Fight Club, it's like Fan Fight Club.
There you go.
God.
Fan Fight Club.
EA is single-handedly making sports games worth something.
Make it a contest. Like, put it out there. Be like, hey guys, who's the biggest fan? We're gonna put you in this game. We're gonna pit you up against these other fans.
Is now a collector's item because there's no digital representation.
Yep.
Well, I guess the value will go up a total of 5 cents at our favorite old game store.
Yeah, this is pretty much like the NCAA, those later ones whenever EA lost the college license. But those games are a lot of money still expensive.
I remember when that happened and everybody came in looking for a copy.
Yep. They were gone quick.
They were gone. And then I had to explain to someone why we didn't have any.
Didn't want to pay.
No, I know. And literally it was just, I mean, technically actually the likeness thing was in their contract, but it was like so weirdly worded that yeah.
But I do wonder, speaking of likenesses, like since they don't have the FIFA license, is that going to be tied into the likenesses of some of the players, or is that a separate contract they have to do with each of the soccer groups? I have no idea. That's
a good question.
Guys. Yeah. I'll ask any of our British friends and see if they know, because I have no idea. All right. So we got a little bit of a surprise announcement. Like they had some stuff from the MetaQuest talking about the launch of the MetaQuest 3. We got some general information on it. But what surprised me is that Xbox Game Cloud, cloud gaming is coming to it as a native app. It's not any type of VR, which I got my hopes up for a moment. I was like, holy shit, are we finally getting Xbox VR? Finally? No, it just lets you have a giant screen to play the games, which...
So okay, it's a PSVRP?
Kinda, except for this one can actually be played wirelessly without an Xbox.
That's true.
Yeah. So if you have a MetaQuest 3, and I'm guessing probably a MetaQuest 2 as well, you can load this up. It'll show up like a giant screen in front of you, and you can play Xbox games via streaming with that, which, okay, that's cool. I sync up an Xbox controller to my MetaQuest 2 all the time, because playing with an analog stick for Tetris Effect just feels like I'm doing something that shames the look of God down on us. Like, I should not be playing this with an analog stick. That game requires a D-pad. So, So I guess it'll work. I still really want Xbox to allow some kind of VR headset. Like, come on.
Good luck.
Like, you're already aping motion and the HD rumble and all that crap. Just go ahead and ape VR. Just please give us something.
Yeah, or let us trade. Do some trading.
Yeah, let them, you're going to give them Xbox Cloud Gaming and some other stuff. Let them at least plug the damn thing in. That'd be great. So what Xbox will hand over, apparently, is chat logs, because the FBI indicted a Wall Street banker and his friends because their Xbox 360 chats over insider trading.
He didn't misspeak, ladies and gentlemen. He said Xbox 360.
Listen.
Yes,
the only way for the FBI not to find stuff is handwritten notes that are burned after. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and mind you, these are people doing insider trading, playing on an Xbox 360, doing this in the year of our Lord 2023. That this happened back in June. So This isn't like way in the past when it was all popular.
The longevity of that system.
Right. They were probably watching it.
That's the funniest thing about it, too, because they're probably the only people playing Xbox 360.
One of maybe.
It wasn't us.
Oh, yeah.
You're the only ones that have one right now.
So there were other things going on, emails and other things, but they did talk about the fact that they got information from that and then quoted the people that were arrested telling each other, oh, it's okay, we're on a 360. They don't track any of this, which is the best quote you could get from that as they track.
This is one of the literally I'm imagining them at an FBI office, and they're in one of these rooms, and there's the window here that has the other people behind it that they can't see through. And the agent that's there literally is looking at them, and they say that this is repeated or whatever. And they say it out loud, and they look toward the window with just this look.
Not even that. I'm just picturing them just going.
Literally, they look toward the window with that, and the people behind the window are laughing, like dying. Soundproof. Yep. They can't hear them, so
they're sitting there with their older 360 headsets on. Just like, pause the game. I gotta laugh at this.
Sent them a video message, and it's Roz from Monsters Inc. I'm always watching.
I'm always watching.
Oh, good one.
There you go.
I used to scare the crap out of people with that impression. Like,
I'd
pop out behind a corner. Guess who?
Always watching.
I did always like her character. That's great. So apparently when I updated the news to include the FBI one, I split two stories apart that were supposed to go together because I did have information about the MetaQuest 3 release information. So they did say the date, the details, and the cost were revealed. So the MetaQuest 3 is releasing October 10th of this year. The 128 gig version is going out for $499.99. And the 512 gig version is going to be $649.99.
I love how they're just like, Xbox Cloud Gaming is going to be available in December on this particular thing, which is coming out in, I don't know, a week and a half.
Just run off with a cape. And just...
Pay no attention to the price behind the curtain.
Yeah.
My work here is done, but you didn't do anything.
That you know of. You can't prove it. It was on 360.
Yeah, you can't prove it. It was on 360.
Oh man, that's just, that makes me laugh so much that insider trading was killed because of that. So on a more depressing sign of basically the worst fans are the ones that are also scalpers. There's a special place in hell for you. You ruin it for everybody else, and only you could ruin something so wholesome that children could learn and enjoy. But you wanted posters, shirts, and plushes, you bastards. So the Pokemon Cross Van Gogh Museum was holding a collaboration event in Amsterdam with Pokemon-inspired interpretations of Van Gogh's works, which are really cool looking, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
The event was swarmed at the very beginning with scalpers grabbing entire stacks of prints and other items to sell, pushing, punching, doing all this crap to get these things, and already trying to throw them online to sell them for insane amounts of money.
Okay. So I have a curious, like like the online store. It says they were blocking customers who were browsing the product. Like they weren't even letting people buy it online after a certain point.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
But
I
like,
had it with
uh,
I had it with something else I bought from them, which was when I was trying to get their Squishmallows for Snorlax.
yeah,
'Cause it was a big
That sounds
deal.
adorable.
It was a big deal, and he's kind of made for it because you put them on your bed, whatever.
yeah,
Right.
But by me going to look at other products and clicking on different either links provided by somebody's like
yeah,
tweet at the
yeah.
time,
Hmm.
or otherwise, I was like, oh, what others do you have in this line? The Pokemon Center's like, your browsing is weird, so you're blocked. That's it. Not a warning, just
Yeah.
you're blocked.
Yeah.
I ended up, for anybody else who wants to go, the workaround is you have to go incognito. It's the only way.
So what's really, I'm curious because it said Amsterdam, and I'm like, I know scalpers are still a thing in Europe, but they're a lot less. They're a lot less. I hate saying this. They're a lot less American in their ways of doing it. So I'm
She's not
sitting here.
wrong.
No, I'm not. I mean,
hate
I listen. I don't
Truth hurts.
poo-poo on people that are trying to make their money any way they can, especially in today's world. I really don't. I don't poo-poo on that because it's rough. People are trying to make ends meet. And some people go, thrifting or buy a couple of items like this and put them online to try and make an extra buck for people that can't travel. I get that. I do.
Right.
I understand from that point of view. But swarmed with scalpers, like, I'm
Did
sorry.
you see the videos of this? Like, it
Yes,
was
I did. I felt like I was watching the videos from a certain tourist location down here when they release a new popcorn bucket. Like,
It looked like a Black Friday event. Like it was ridiculous.
I don't. This is why I believe that every single store that releases new products should put a limit on purchase. Like,
Agreed.
they have to. Every single one. Yes, I get it. Stores are in the business of making money. They are. I know. I've been working in merchandise for all of my life, from grocery stores to retail chains to whatever. I have been working in this kind of environment my entire adult existence.
Right.
I understand the concept of making money and being successful, but you run into the problem of more problems later on for people that didn't even get the opportunity. You've then lost that customer permanently, possibly because of a bad experience. They will not come back regardless of what you put out. They will find another way to get it, or they will move on to something else. So I also think it's very sad because the whole point of this collaboration event was to encourage, kids and people in getting into art more, to appreciating art, which is, I wouldn't say completely underappreciated, but it's not like it's a nice combo of tech and art. And in some ways, tech is art. So I just think it's sad that there are going to be people that would have loved to experience that are not going to get to experience that stuff. I'm sure you can look at images of it online, but it's not the same as owning it.
Well, there was one of the, I don't remember exactly which guy it was one of the video game reporters. He was just like, oh, to hell with this. He found scans of them and just took it to a local shop and had them printed, framed, and he put them in his house. He's like, I'm not even going to fight with this. I'm just going to make my own. Like, what's the point? Like, they're like, oh, well, you're taking the art and printing it. And he's like, what? I can't buy it. I can't go get it. They've all been hoarded. And if I'm spending hundreds of dollars on this, I'm paying some jackass that went and raided this place, basically.
And listen, you know who'd be completely okay with that? Van Gogh himself, because art is meant to be appreciated, not to be hoarded.
That's still one of the saddest Doctor Who episodes. Damn it.
Do you want to know the dark reason why they were trying to buy these prints?
Oh God, it gets worse. Go for it.
I will read you the official statement from Pokemon Center.
Oh shit.
And you can pull out what caused all this.
Uh-huh.
We apologize to all the fans eagerly awaiting our Pokemon Center Cross Van Gogh Museum release today. Due to overwhelming demand, all our products from this collection have sold out. We understand this is disappointing to many who are looking for our official email and social media channels for guidance on how and when to purchase. We are actively working on ways to provide more Pikachu with gray felt hat promo cards for fans shopping at the Pokemon Center buying the Cross Fango products.
Yeah, it's the trading card thing all over again.
You got
Oh
a
my
trading
God.
card with every Van Gogh purchase. So what do? You buy as many Van Gogh things as you can.
It's
The
terrible.
flip side is there's probably going to be a lot of them on eBay that are trying to get rid of them because not the cards, the prints that we actually want, because they're like, wait, I just wanted the cards. I don't want all these paintings.
Oh, and I'm looking at like the line of merch, not just the art and the frame stuff, the
Yeah,
cards,
there's like
whatever.
plushes
But
and
the
stuff.
little plushes are so cute. The T-shirt's cute.
Yeah.
The little tote bag is adorable.
Like, it's such a
You get
fun way to
but
get
you
kids
get a
into
trading
art.
card with every single one. So it's like, okay, I will buy them all.
Stop! I love them though.
Right? They're great. I would have loved to have gotten those.
Have any of you ever been put in the purchasing queue on Best Buy?
No.
It
Well,
is done.
no.
It is done extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
It prevents probably all the bots and doesn't block you from going on their page. They just tell you that the demand for this product is pretty high, not to do anything but sit and wait for your page to refresh by itself. And then it says, okay, go. You have 15 minutes to check out because it's officially in your cart. They don't put it in your cart until they have the product ready for you, like allocated.
Yeah, I wish Nintendo would learn
They
from
started
that.
doing that from like the PS5 on, and it's been wonderful because I got the recent Amiibo string that released, like the Xenoblade and stuff. I got it all from Best Buy because they put me in a queue and then let me buy them.
I'm gonna have to chance it with those because I couldn't get them anywhere, so that sucks. But yeah, it's just
That's nice.
This was supposed to be a really kind of wholesome way for kids, adults, everyone to kind of appreciate more Van Gogh stuff through the lens of Pokemon, and I thought was a creative way because I saw the artwork and I was like, oh, that's a really interesting thing to do, and it just, then I saw the videos and I was like, yeah, you guys just completely, like, yeah, I buy a lot of stuff, I get the whole thing, but consumerism is just killing any appreciation for any of this stuff as an actual art form, I think. Yeah, I saw that, Chris. This is
It was just unfortunately very badly handled, as we've all said.
Yes.
Obviously, hindsight is 2020, so maybe next time they pull something like this, there will be a limit.
Agreed. All right. Well, our last bit of news, Rachel, you had added this one as a good way to send us off before we do our big question this week. So I'm going to hand it off to you. What is our last story?
Do you guys, are you animation fans at all?
I am.
To a point.
Did you watch the Has Been Hotel pilot a number of years ago on YouTube when it came out?
I don't think so.
So it's Jeremy, I highly recommend it. Make sure your daughter's not around when you watch it.
It is not for kids.
It is not for kids.
Okay.
At all. It is at all.
Gotcha.
It is, just to kind of tell you, Charlie, the daughter of Lucifer, it takes place in hell.
Nice.
Opens up a hotel to try and teach demons redemption. And yes, and so it's got a cast of colorful characters. There's my favorite character is Alistor. He's probably,
of course,
it is radio
This
demon.
sounds very blasphemous, and it's gonna be very popular in my house.
Very
Love it.
blasphemous. But the pilot was so successful. A24, I don't know if you guys have heard of them.
I do know of them.
They're part of it, and it's coming out on Prime actually in January of next year.
Awesome.
Definitely watch the pilot, watch the release date announcement trailer, and they're already working on season 2. They announced it in the release date announcement trailer that they're already working on season 2. Apparently this thing is so good, before it even came out, they're already working on a second season.
I like that.
Which I'm just like, on this day, the year of our Lord 2023, the a Hell show got a season 2 before it even came out, and Good Omens hasn't gotten a season 3 renewal yet.
You'll get there.
I know I will, but I'm looking very forward to it, especially since I do have their other YouTube show by the same people, called Hell of a Boss, which takes place in the same universe. But I also I recommend it. Also not for kids at
It's
all.
very amusing, and a lot of, if you've watched Invader Zim, Richard
that's a
Horvitz
big
is the
one in our
voice of
house.
one of the characters.
He's the voice of a
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
I love
It's
it.
definitely not for kids.
Definitely not for kids. No, but if you want to laugh a lot, my favorite character in Hell of a Boss is Stolas. That's me. But I just also really like owls, and he's super spooky. So
Oh,
We'll
yes.
just-
Well,
we'll
he
get-
is an owl demon.
he is an owl demon. Yeah.
We'll get everyone else together and watch it while Jennifer, right now, she's obsessed. Like, she just started playing Pokemon Arceus today. She realized that's a thing, and I was like, yeah, I have it. Just play it. And she is loving it. So we'll let her go play that while we watch the great Blasphemous cartoon.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, listen, if you watch the pilot and then be like, oh man, this was good, you have a whole season and a half of Hell of a Boss to watch to tide you over until January. So you could just, So
maybe we'll be talking about this.
But
it is not for everybody.
I'm fine with that. I mean,
but gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of the creator.
Vipsy Pop, right?
No. It's the guy who voices Blitz. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
To the internet. We're not afraid of research on this show, even if it's real time.
Brandon Rogers. Do you recognize that name, Jeremy?
Brandon. It sounds kind of familiar, but I'm not sure.
He was a YouTuber and comedian. He's the one that like would have the really bad mom wig on and be wearing the spandex and would be in the grocery store yelling at the.
Don't know this guy.
Okay, he's
I see the video. I'm like, I don't know this guy.
He's very very funny, but he's like one of the writers on Hell of a Boss and a voice actor. So, but there's a bunch of pretty well known voice actors that are part of the show, but. I'm really, really, really looking forward to it, and I was tickled pink when they announced the release date when I was at work on lunch, and it came across my feed, and my coworkers were like, "Rachel, oh my God, what's going on?" And I was like, "Hee!" And I showed them my phone, and they were like, "Yeah, yep, you're weird, and we love you anyway."
Weird, damn it.
Shows just coming out of nowhere. I'm kind of excited though for the what was it that they announced both Onimusha and Tomb Raider are coming to Netflix.
Oh wow, I didn't realize.
Devil May Cry as well.
Devil May Cry, that came out of nowhere.
And all of those look like there's a good production value in there. So
Castlevania got the ball rolling on that, I think.
Yeah, I'm just glad also that apparently What We Do in the Shadows is getting another season now too. So I was like, that's what I heard. That's the word on the street, as it were. It hasn't been necessarily like talked about on their social media. It just says all episodes available now, and I'm just like, okay, but are we getting another one?
Yeah, I don't know if they can talk about it on the social media right now, depending on how well that's working. Yeah. Maybe after the writers thing, they can start doing it again, but the actors are still working out.
Yeah, actors are still, have to just have a little nappy nap. So.
Yep. So. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and finish this all up by talking about our big question for this week, which is kind of a smaller, more relaxed, chill, because damn, it's been depressing news today. So when you've got this much depressing news, you need a little bit of comfort. So the question I have for each of you, is there a game you always go back to if you're bored or finished everything you wanted to play or just feel nostalgic, or in this case, want to get over depressing news, your comfort game? Do you guys have one or more that you would want? Who wants to start this off?
I'll go.
Steven, go for it.
Because I've probably beaten this game, and it's not the one you're thinking of, Chris, but I will always go to this game, not just when I'm bored, but just when I'm having an episode like Rachel mentioned in the beginning, where everything I pick up, I'm like, no. And it's like, maybe I have to break out of this like shell, is this like boredom shell or something. But for me, it's Super Castlevania 4.
Oh, that's a good one.
It always has all the music I'm used to from the Castlevania series, of retro at least. And just gets me going through the game. And it was designed as kind of like an homage to like the Castlevanias that had been released thus far, like a best of. And yes,
Basically
it's
a
the
remake, yeah.
easiest of them all, but I don't know. There's just so many great set pieces that every time I start it up, and I don't think it's on. Yeah, it's not on the virtual console they have, because if it was, I'd be playing it again just to beat it. Because when it was on the Wii, I purchased it and beat it, and when it was on the Wii U, discounted because I had it on the Wii, I bought it again, beat it. So I was like,
I think they put it on. Didn't they put it on the 3DS? The new 3DS.
Castlevania 4, and I will play that to death till finish every time. So.
Nice. All right, Chris, we'll let you go next. What is your comfort game or games?
Usually, it's either going to be any of the NES Mega Man games because I've just played through a bunch of them. But aside from that, Mega Man X4, that game,
Okay.
I know inside and out. I know where everything is. I like the music. I adore the graphics. Everything about that game to me says quintessential Mega Man game. And it's just something I can turn on, enjoy without any stress, and just chill with.
No X7?
Choice.
No, God, no. The last time I played that, everybody begged me to turn it off. I kept playing out of spite.
Just for that, Steven, next time I stream, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm just going to start playing Microsoft Flight Simulator and just be way up there. Like, here you go.
Tell me.
No, that one's fine because that one's fine because it doesn't look real enough.
Oh, it does now. All right, Rachel, what about you? What is your comfort games?
There's a few depending on my moods.
There you go.
And they're not necessarily like single games, but game series. Like the biggest one that I play when I have no idea what to play, I know I just want to play something and I just want to feel that comfort and joy that I felt playing it as a child. And that is the Ty the Tasmanian Tiger game series on the GameCube.
I remember those.
If you have never played them, it's a cute little platformer. You play Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, and he uses boomerangs. In the first game, you go through various levels and collect opals and do missions to collect thunder eggs. And you're going against Boss Cass, and there's who's a cassowary, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those birds in real life. Terrifying dinosaurs, evil looking as heck.
Yes.
But I play those ones when I'm in the mood for something really like happy and just because it's got really just quintessential, which I have come to like consider just outback fun music. It's full of didgeridoos and guitars and xylophone. Like it's just cool. All of the soundtracks are on Spotify too. So if you just want just chill, good music, just something to vibe to that's like good, highly recommend all those soundtracks. Like they came across my AI DJ on Spotify the other day and I was just like turns it all the way up. It was the soundtrack for the level 2 up and I was just like just literally like jamming out to it.
Did you ever pick up the Switch release?
Oh yeah, I got the first 2. No, did I get the second one on Switch? I don't remember. I'll have to check. I think I did. I have all 4 on Steam. I haven't picked up the 4th one on Switch. The 4th one's a little different. The first 3 are 3D platformers. The 4th one, because they had other projects going on, but they still wanted to do something with Ty, and they didn't have a huge amount of money at that time. They did a 3D side scroller not a 3D, but side scroller platformer. So, not my favorite personally. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't do it. Ty 5, and if they did a Ty 5 it would probably be in 3D, but they have to wait until they have time to, because Chrome is essentially one of those type of developers now that doesn't really, they create their own stuff, but a lot of it's contract work, so that's why they do all their stuff in Kickstarters. But another game series that I go back for comfort is the game series that shall not be named, the first 3 games, and then game 5 and 6. I don't touch 4 because it was weird, and 7 parts 1 and 2 were also weird. I could never get past the end of the first part of 7. So that was
Now I'm
weird.
curious, when you talk about the earlier ones, are you talking about the PlayStation versions or the Game Boy versions? Because it was Game Boy Color, I think.
The first 2 were on Game Boy Color. The third
Right.
one was on Game Boy Advance, and those were the RPG editions. The
Gotcha.
first 2 on Game Boy Advance were adventure games, but I didn't have as much fun with them as I did the RPG version. So all of them is the answer. I just go back to that series because it makes me happy to play. It doesn't necessarily break me out of my funk. Ty usually does. But then, of course, the third thing I use is comfort, which this does seem like a lot, but it's all based on my moods. And I've mentioned this game series before because I do love my point and click adventure stuff that is not the stupid search and find stuff. Even though some of those are good. It's the Nancy Drew games by Her Interactive.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys have ever seen those at all, but
You've mentioned them before.
We talked about them on here before.
They're very, the earlier ones especially are very, very good. They have honestly some pretty complicated puzzles. The games are just fun, and I grew up playing them on my home computer with my best friend Cassie, who got me into gaming, period. And then I also have fond memories of playing them with my mom too. So like, it's just a good nostalgic series for me that I'm like, I don't know what I want to play. So sometimes I'll just boot that up because all of them are on Steam except one of them. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, there's a couple of games that I play that are always ones I go back to just no matter what, if I just want to relax or if I've had a crappy day or I need to just kind of desensitize from everything else for a while. The main one and my favorite just period for gaming is Super Metroid. I will go back to that game, especially if I need to just kind of tune everything out. Like if I'm just overwhelmed or, too much stuff going on, throw on some headphones. And it's such a beautiful game for the music and the sound effects and how it looks of that world of seclusion running around with Samus on, trying to get through everything. And I'll play it for anywhere from a couple of minutes to I can pick it up randomly at any time on multiple systems, whatever the game save is at. I'll just jump into it and go.
Yeah.
Or I'll just sit there and play the entire thing. I'll just take a few hours and just play the whole thing through.
Are you saving or killing the animals?
Oh, I save them. Come on.
Speed run, Steve.
Yeah, I've tried doing speed runs of it and I'm like, yeah, it's great, but I'm
not saying he's doing a speed run.
Yeah, I just have fun just enjoying it. But Super Metroid is that's still like my favorite game of all time. That is the one I can go back and I've played it on the Super Nintendo, the Wii, I had it on the Wii U. I played it on pretty much every time it's been released, my new 3DS. I've played it on the Super Nintendo Classic, played it on the Switch, anything else I can get my hands on, even like emulator machines I'm playing Super Metroid on there to test it out. So that's always my go-to comfort, which I find funny because my youngest son, he became a huge Metroid fan as well. So that's his big thing too. Not quite as much Super Metroid, but I think it's more Metroid Prime for him. The other one that I will go and just relax and play is I will just at any time just start a new map in Minecraft and just explore, because every time it's something different. So I can just kind of get that feeling of exploration, which I find relaxing, and just kind of explore about and, there's, what's over this hill, what's over that way. And I just really enjoy doing that and eventually building a train system. I don't know why I keep doing that over and over again.
You saying the open world, it's going to sound weird, but was also relaxing to me was just jumping around and doing whatever I wanted in Crackdown. The first one.
Yeah, I was playing the second one when we were having that.
You were playing the second one, but I just remember the first one because one of the achievements was to climb to the top of the tower. And as scary as that would sound for somebody like me, the higher up you got, the more peaceful it got. Like all you could hear was the wind, and I'm like, you know what? This isn't so bad.
That was actually a game, going back to a whole different thing, but that moment of jumping from the top of that and going all the way down for the achievement, actually got me to write up like a whole article talking about games having causing physical reactions in people playing them, because being up there and jumping, because I have a thing with heights, like I had to climb cranes and other stuff, and like I felt my stomach like squeeze, and that whole feeling of jumping off of something from a great height, and I was like, holy crap. So
this is why I love reactions whenever there's a direct or a big news on state of information or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
Or the Xbox's version, whenever it's something that came out of the blue, whether it affects me or not, I know it's going to affect certain people, and I love to see that pure reaction when like their favorite series comes back, or they're seeing their stuff reimagined and stuff like that. So even though personally I won't play Rebirth, I'm still waiting for the game to be finished. Not Rebirth, the whole thing. I love seeing fans of 7 just like soak it in, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm seeing it in such a bigger world now. It's not just a pasted pre-rendered background. I can go over there now."
Yeah, speaking of getting to see stuff from the directs, I forgot to mention, I did get to finally see that big screen they use for all those announcements in the Nintendo store. I was like, I'm here.
Nice.
I love that.
That was really well done too. I was like, oh, that's cool. All right, so we'll go ahead and start wrapping up this lovely episode here. And before we go, we will let everybody know where we can find you on the internet. And Rachel, we'll start with you.
You can find me at the same places you always find me, at Outrageous. It's OUT_RACHEOUS. And that's on Twitter for now. Eventually that will go away. I will probably ride that sinking ship into the water as it drowns. Threads and Instagram is also the same. I'm also on Blue Sky as well. I have not posted much because that's because there's not a lot of content for me to consume on there yet. But that's also Outrageous, but with no underscore. And then Twitch is the same, Outrageous with no underscore. Admittedly, I haven't streamed in a while, but also throw me a bone, guys. There hasn't been AC at my house.
Right. Throw you a fan.
I have all of the fans on. Have you seen this big guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have the same fan in our room. They're great fans.
They're great. It's very breezy in here.
I know this will take a while, but we'll go ahead and Chris, where can we find you on the internet?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
Aside from that, you can't.
Aw. See? This is the gift you get. You listen or watch us and you get Chris. Otherwise, no Chris for you. Steven, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me lurking on the Cowboy Western place called X at loading_time. You can find me at the not as crazy as the Pokemon Center, Blue Sky. It's starting to grow with more people. At N1 Nintendo, so that's Nintendo with a 1 instead of the I, .bsky.social.com. Long enough for you. You can find me in the ball pit of the desolate wasteland known as Hive at Swantendo. And you can see all my acrophobia exclusively on Discord at N1 Nintendo. And that's the I is a 1 and a period after it.
I'm really sorry. I didn't know.
I'm not.
As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, God. So you can find me in all of my apparently terrifying form over on Linktree, if you want to just look up Zenspath for that. Or Blue Sky is at zenspath.com. Instagram and Threads is at zenspathcom. There's no period. Twitter, Hive, and Discord is at Zenspath. Twitch is twitch.tv/Zenspath. And lastly, if you're listening to the audio version of this, you can watch the video version over at youtube.com/ZenspathCom. And if you're watching this and you'd like to be able to listen to it, you can find us at zenspath.libsyn.com/site, because that's the newer page they're going to. The zenspath.libsyn.com still works, but they're apparently updating it. And then Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, you should be able to find us on there as well. If you leave us a review, a like, share it with people, so forth, we'd greatly appreciate it because we're trying to build up a little bit of viewership or listenership so we can have some more people to talk to. And I'd love to eventually start getting more questions from people as well that we can kind of dig into and have some fun with that for interaction. All right, I've been your host, Jeremy Powers. This has been episode 103 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network. Still trying to get used to the name because I keep wanting to say the old one out of habit after over 100 episodes. And we're out. Peace.
And we'll see you in the stands for the soccer fans versus the football fans.
I'm scared of
That'll begin.